Mama.
All right, we're there now.
Yeah.
Hello. If you're here, give me a shout out in the chat. What's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Norma. Hi. Oh my God. Hey 2.0 mommy. How are you? Oh, my bestie Monica is in the house from Delaware. Delaware. Woo! Yes, we crossing state lines tonight. Yes, 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 yes. Hello, 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 hello. Am I super loud? Because I know I got a big mouth, so just want to make sure. Am I super, super loud? Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello. Hey,
Oh, yes.
downstairs.
Now shout out to Diva. Her nickname is Dee because I ain't got time to do all that. I'll be like, Dee. What's up, Dee? Hi, Dee. How you doing? Welcome, baby. How are you? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Love you too, Monica. That's our nickname for each other. Taisha, we were college roommates. My nickname for Monica is Boo, and her nickname for me is Boo Boo. So y'all,
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's what we have endured for over, oh my God, what is it, 30 some years, 36 years maybe? I can't even remember how many years, but we and I'm with her all weekend in Ocean City, Maryland at the beach. And yes, y'all say, oh, y'all going to the beach in the winter, in the fall? No, we're not in there yet. In the fall, I am definitely in the beach in the fall. Nia, thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Taisha. Look, I just got finished telling her how nervous I am. I am so nervous. I am so excited that people are joining in. Love you too, Monty. Love you too. Can't call you our nickname here tonight, but love you, Monty. We are here, and I'm excited for what this night is about to be. Um, I am Elaine, and I'm with Real Talk with Elaine, and I am so excited to have all of you join us on tonight. We know that we're going to have more guests joining or viewers joining us tonight, but I first want to start off by allowing my wonderful co-host to introduce herself because let me tell you about at Simply Taisha. Let me tell you about her. I started this journey back in March, and I say journey, but yeah, it's a journey for me because I'm ADD or ADHD. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm one of them. So anyway, I started this journey off March 29th, and I am the type of person that I'm afraid to start anything without knowing where I'm going to go with this. And I always need to have a support system. That is so huge for me. And I went to YouTube. Didn't know that this was a thing on YouTube, but I definitely decided that I wanted to find out. So I started, looking up and searching who else was on GLP-1 medication. I'm on Manjaro, and I got to learn everything. And it's funny how you learn this process in phases, because I learned it first of all. All I knew was Ozempic. I had heard about it for years, didn't care about it, didn't know about it, didn't know anything about it. But when I started hearing about Manjaro and my doctor told me about it and he wanted me to go on it, I decided, let me look and see who else is on it. So I started following people who was on Manjaro, and it just led me to Taisha. One day, I don't know what happened. She popped up on my screen, and she's the most zen, lovely, soft talking person I've ever seen. So I said, oh my God, like I lived for her videos, and I believed in her walk on this process, and it meant so much to me. And it wasn't until maybe, I think maybe a month ago or a little less, that I had the opportunity to introduce myself to her. And I felt like I had met Whitney Houston. You know how you know when you're a star, and you the first time anybody ever met like your favorite star for the first time, or one of your favorite stars for the first time. That's how I felt when I met Taisha. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm not going to just say her. I had a few other ones that I was like fanning out on. I met all three of my favorite fans on one night. I met Simply Taisha, I met Alonda, and I met 2.0 Mommy, all on the same night. What kind of foolishness is that? Like I was rich. I was really rich in the GLP-1 world. So I just want to say, Taisha, I am just delighted to welcome you to the Real Talk with Elaine on tonight. And I am honored that you decided to do this with me on tonight. I know we have a lot to cover, and I don't want to, belabor it, but I certainly want you to know that I appreciate you. I respect you so highly. I want you to please share with our viewers on tonight who you are, and just give a quick, update on where you are with this process. Thank you.
All right. That introduction, my goodness. My name is Taisha. I have been on my own Zepbound journey for 39 weeks now, going into 40, and I've lost a total of 54 pounds. Uh, I feel like a lot of the success I've had with this particular journey was making mindset changes and focusing on establishing good habits. So that's it. That's it. That's it. I do love this community, and I feel like I'm learning a lot. We have Elaine with the Audacity series. We had Downsizing Diva letting us know, recently about perimenopause. Like, I feel like this community is developing into more than just weight loss. And I love that. I love that.
Thank you
And thank you
so.
for having me on with you.
Yes. And I want to just kind of, you're so modest, you're so humble. You are. I know that. I know that about you by now. But I just wanted you to know, and she said to me, Elaine, this is your night. It's not about me. But I am, first and foremost, anybody that knows me knows that I am an educator at heart. And I do believe that we should come with, the expertise. And so the one thing that I love about Taisha, and what I've learned about her just in the short 1 month that we've had a chance to really, really connect, is that she is a mental health specialist, former mental health specialist. She has served our country in two branches of the service. And so, and I believe it was what, Navy and Army, or
Air
Air
Force, and
Force,
then
I'm sorry. Oh
it's
God, the Air Force kicked my butt. I made that mistake. Of course
okay.
she's the Air Force. Okay, of course she's the Air Force. So yes, it's Air Force and the Army, correct?
Yes.
And so, but this is an amazing individual, and I know that she is here to support me. She said that earlier tonight. She said, I'm just here to support you, but I'm here also. I'm happy she's here to not only support me, but to give me, to help you all. So anyone that is in it, that's one here, that's as a viewer tonight, just know you're on safe ground, and you're with someone who can certainly help and lead and direct you to where you need to be. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I think now I want to preface this with what we, um, why we're here tonight. This is a follow-up to our, to a series that I did on I have a series called the Audacity series, and that Audacity series is taking on so many different topics that will surround our mental health and physical health as we go on this GLP-1 journey. Okay. So for those of you who are here, you're like, what is GLP-1? This is medication that we are taking, which I know a lot of you, and I'm not really well versed in all of that. That's not what I'm here for. I really don't care about all that. Honestly, I am here for the fact that I know that my body went through a transition this year. My A1C, which showed that I was in a diabetic range, I began to start having metabolic issues, and I had to do something about it. I went to see a doctor that he decided that he wanted me to take medication to start trying to transition my body into a more healthier position. So I did start Manjaro as a result. I started off on 5 milligrams of Manjaro on March 29th. And over the past 7.5, 8 months, I have now titrated up. And now I titrated all the way up to 12.5 milligrams, which is the one before the last dose that we can possibly take. And I think I went a little bit too fast. And that'll be another segment that we'll talk about. But I did, because I was like, I gotta go. I gotta get up here. I gotta get up here. I gotta lose this weight. And I gotta get myself better. I have lost 55 pounds solidly. And I'm very excited about that. But I knew that I went too fast. So I decided within the past 2 weeks to go back down to the lower dose. And now I feel good. I feel healthy. I feel like I can eat, which is something that's very important on this medication. You have to be able to eat. And I feel strong. So that those are things that I didn't want to compromise. And so I was doing that by rushing my way through. So definitely this has been an amazing life-changing medication. But what else I noticed through this journey for me was I started feeling like I was connecting to other things that may have gotten me here. Because I wasn't an overweight child. I just wasn't an overweight child. I was a child that was very healthy in terms of physicality, and I wasn't. I didn't have a lot of issues in terms of weight all the way until I got into maybe my 30s. So this was something that was weird to me. I didn't understand it. I didn't know why. And I had 3 kids that kept me running around. One that was severely ADHD, and the other two, I don't know what the heck they are, but they somewhere out there too. But I just did not know why I was gaining all of this weight. And I don't really eat a lot. I never was a big eater, but I know I ate some of the wrong things, and I ate at the wrong times. And I ate when it was emotional for me. So I thought, why would this emotional eating, what was going on? Why did I want to hold y'all? Let me tell y'all, a half a gallon of ice cream almost a night. That was my thing. Butter pecan, loved it. Okay, a half a gallon a night. That's where I was when I got to my highest weight, which was almost 400 pounds. It was, sorry, Rusty's in the background, and he decided he wanted to come in and squeak his toy at the worst time, so I apologize. But 387 pounds, I believe, is where I was at my highest weight. Never, 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 never. Okay, so I say that, and the series that I put together this past week, which has been amazing, and so many people have been watching it. I've gotten so many emails, inboxes on my Instagram, as well as my personal family and friends reaching out to me because they just didn't know. There is a direct correlation between obesity and childhood abuse and trauma. And if you're here for that, This is something that I want you to know that it's real. And I want to be able to address some of the questions that came in afterwards so that we can, kind of move forward. There is an educational component to this because for 12 years I was a adjunct professor at a college. So understand that's just what I do. And I do work in education now. So obviously you're going to get a little bit of education on this. We're going to make it fun and interesting for you. So with that said, no further ado, simply Taisha, you have some questions for me. Would you please walk into your Oprah role?
All right, so here we go. This is we're going to have 4 questions and they're broken up into A and B. So the first one, in a world where social norms and expectations often dictate behavior and expression, how can individuals find the courage to speak their truth authentically about childhood trauma and or abuse?
Ah, wow. Yeah. When it comes to speaking your truth about childhood trauma or abuse, for me there were several fears because even in this past week, speaking my truth publicly, I did experience some of the truth of those fears. Okay, so I'll start with talking about what a few of them are. One is fear of judgment or rejection. Um, whew, one of the most significant fears for me is people blaming me or looking at me a particular way. It's and not really wanting to associate with you because this is something they just don't understand. Another fear is not being believed. That is huge for anyone going through this, especially when they speak their truth. And, when we're children, you tend to kids say things and you hear them and you're like, oh my God, I love them. I want to just, surround them and support them. But as an adult coming out and saying this, a lot of people just don't believe you. They dismiss your experiences and accuse you of maybe exaggerating or lying, which I think can be a little invalidating, and also it's painful when folk do that. Um, One of the things when I used to teach, I taught intro to sociology, and the sociological perspective, that was like one of the first things that I taught my students. And the sociological perspective is just knowing and understanding that if you don't go through it, if you have not experienced something, you can't relate to something, it doesn't directly affect you, you're not going to be able to understand that. That's why marginalized communities and people and populations, they struggle so hard. That's why civil rights became a thing, because of the fact that others on the outside who don't have those experiences, they don't understand. It's the same thing with abuse. It's the same thing with abuse. A final thing I'll say is fear of reliving the trauma. When we go through our trauma and we speak our trauma experiences out loud, they bring back such painful memories and emotions. And that's one of that was real hard for me within the past week. I uploaded my video on last Tuesday, and by the time that I finished it and uploaded and edited and everything, my video, I sat back in this chair right behind me. I sat there and I bawled because I had to channel that inner 9-year-old little girl, and I had to become her again to be able to create something so that you all would truly understand that. And that took a lot for me, physically, mentally. Had to get on the line with my therapist and just let her know how I felt about all of that. But it was real for me. It was really real. Yes. So so I do want to say that there are some strategies that we can do to help overcome some of these barriers that Taisha just asked me about. One is self-acceptance and healing, knowing that the first step of your journey is understanding that your experiences and your emotions are valid and they are crucial. This internal work can help build the foundation of confidence needed for you to speak your truth. Next, get a good support system around you. You know, people who believe in you, who love you, who trust you. Those people are very helpful to getting you to be a stronger and more confident individual. Um, the therapeutic support, you heard me say that. You'll hear me say that all throughout tonight. I can't do a thing without Desney. I'm sorry, that's her name. That's my therapist. I told her I was going to be doing this, and so she knows, and she already encouraged me to even write a book because there's so much more than what you all saw in that video. Truly, that was just a little piece of the pie, like a very small piece of it. And so but therapeutic support is huge. You're getting guidance from your therapist, and you're also getting some support from the techniques that they can offer you to help you manage through this. And I will talk a little bit more about that later. Getting in safe environments around people who you trust, again, and that's mainly that's kind of like duplicating what I've already said. Doing advocate. I'm sorry.
Really quick before you finish,
Uh-huh.
the second part of that question, because you're kind of addressing it,
Okay.
what role did your community play in either supporting or hindering this process?
Wow. So my community. So can I back up real quick?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I do want to say this before I go to the community one. I do
Yeah.
want to say there's two other areas that I want to talk about that we need to touch on, that's instead of the barriers that create barriers in our lives or whatever. But I was going to say advocacy and activism, getting involved in groups that will support survivors of childhood abuse and things like that. Makes you feel like you're accomplishing something. And it does increase your healing a lot more when you're able to do that, because you're helping others. But the final thing I want to say is mindfulness and self-care. I love mindfulness, so that's what really has helped me. And I will talk about how the community has helped too, but the mindfulness for me has been huge. Jason Stevenson, who is, oh my God, he's got like a voice of an angel. I want to put him in the chat. I'm trying to get his video right now. They have some. He has a mindfulness video that is amazing. I will make sure I put his in the chat. But what I do have is my favorite that I go to sleep to almost every night. I almost know her whole mindfulness video to heart. And if you don't know what mindfulness is, it is really just channeling kind of a peaceful spiritual kind of side of you and going deep and allowing yourself to just I don't want to say to have an out of body experience, but a lot of times that's what I feel like I'm having, especially on a stressful day. But she has one that's for the inner child healing, and it's a sleep meditation, codependency healing, and releasing negative self-talk. And I will put this link in the chat. So if anybody wants to have it, you definitely can log on to it. And her voice is amazing as well. But I also will get Stevens. I don't know why I didn't have that prepared. I do apologize, but I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. And so that's what I'm putting there now. And I didn't put a name in front of it, but that again is Michelle Chalfant, and she's spelled Chalfant. All right. And then the final is storytelling, because what I did last week was basically storytelling. That is definitely one of the ways to kind of combat some of the issues that you're having. So finding a way to express who you are. So, Taisha, you asked about the community. And I think the question, so I can remind everyone, is what role did my community play in supporting or hindering my process? My community did not do a lot for me. That was one of the questions that came to me this week that was amazing. Um, didn't you have parents and other people in your community that saw what you were going through? I was knocking on doors. So those of you who did get a chance to watch the video, you know that I talked about going from door to door, from people to people, and asking, hey, can y'all come in? Can I stay with you tonight? Can I eat dinner here? Because I didn't have dinner. I need to use the bathroom. Some of the main essential things. I need water. And after a while, I would notice that parents would forbid their kids to open the door. They would act like they don't hear me. They knew it was me. So it was, even though I was already in a humble and embarrassing state, trying to go and seek out someone to assist me, to let me in, because I was basically almost a homeless child, at 9 years old. And they wouldn't let me in. And I mean, this started, around 8 or 9, but this went on for years, as I said, until I was 15, and I found a temporary home situation that I was able to stay in until I went to college. So that was really hard for me, that these people did not really, they turned their back on me. So I kind of feel like I was double victimized, because I was victimized by my mom / abuser. And I'm also victimized by people who just didn't want to get involved and didn't want to, they couldn't take on another kid. I mean, they couldn't take on someone that they wanted to, that would come in their house and need to take their resources from them. And I didn't live in a very wealthy community growing up. So everybody was kind of surviving and doing what they needed to do for their own families.
Okay.
All right.
All right, we're going to move on to the next one. How has your relationship with your childhood parent, abuser, evolved over time? And what steps have you taken to navigate the complexities of healing and reconciliation, if any?
So my relationship with my mom, this is a good question. This is another question that came from one of our, someone that viewed the video. My relationship with my mom did evolve into somewhat of a healthy space, but after she was diagnosed. If you remember the video, I told you it took so many years afterwards. I was grown, had children, was living independently. Obviously, I had already been out of state, back here, in the state that I'm in now, and my mom got ill, physically ill, and I had to take her to the hospital. She had to have a major surgery, and at the point of the major surgery, that's when the doctor asked me, does she have a mental illness? And I was like, I'm pretty sure she does, but it's probably undiagnosed, because I've never known her to, be in treatment or anything. So he said, do you mind if I do a psych consult with her prior to us doing the surgery? Absolutely, do it, And they did, and that's when they discovered she was paranoid schizophrenia. And so they did place her on medication. And because of the type of surgery she had, she was unable to go back to where she lived, which was where I lived all my life prior to this occurring. And she had to move in with me. So I had to actually prepare a home for my mom in my home, which was very difficult. My mom was abusive, not only to me, but to my husband, to my children. And that was very hard, because she was mentally, emotionally abusive to us. And until the medication kind of kicked in and she got to therapeutic level, we went through hell. We actually did. But I was very protective of my children. Of course, I did not let her do to them, of course, what she did to me, but it was just, the mental thing that was horrible. But why did I do that? Don't know. I don't know. I think it has to do with me still respecting her as a parent. And I have the one thing she did raise me in, like Sundays was never a bad day. Sundays was a good day because she had a strong spiritual kind of thing on Sunday. She had to go to church, and I had the best clothes on Sunday, although I had no other clothes during the week that was outside of being secondhand clothes. But every Sunday was the best day for me. It was like I knew I was going to eat. She made a great dinner. We went to church and she played nice, and people thought she was the best person in the world. And I looked good. She looked good. It was all about the external aesthetics, but nothing inside. So yeah, that's what happened over the years with us. Currently, I'll let you know, my mom stayed with me for 15 years in my home. I will tell you that was the best 15 years I had with her. She became my best friend, which was weird, but we did. We became like best friends in the 15 years because I never missed a dose of her medicine. If they didn't have it in, I went anywhere I need. Like we searched for trizepatide and semaglutide. Y'all, I was all over. Look at it. If they didn't have it, I went wherever they had to get her medicine. Would not let her miss a dose. But honestly, she did. We became very good friends. We had great conversations. She was just such a different person. It was just weird. But in 2020, she had 2 strokes, and I had no other choice but to place her into care, and so she has been in a nursing facility since 2020. I don't visit her often. Um, she had an affection for my oldest son who is special needs. So he does visit her. He does do her laundry. He does take care of her because she treated him much differently than she did my other 2 children. And so he understands. I've shared that with him, and I don't. I visit her very infrequently because I went into therapy after she went into the nursing home. And so now I know and understand that I have to own my space and my boundaries. And while I forgive her, um, it's still hard for me to have a solid, relationship with her. They took her off her meds since she's been in there in the nursing home because of her age. She is now 90 years old. And they took her off her medications, and she's very abusive to the staff and everyone around her, roommate, everything. And it's really sad, and I don't like seeing her in that state again. So I just choose not to go. It's more healthy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then the next question, what role do support systems?
Does anyone? No one is in the chat like talking. Y'all are so quiet. What are you guys doing? What are you feeling? How are you feeling out there? How are you feeling out there? Let's do a feelings check. I feel like we need to do a feelings check. Give me some shouts. I want to hear you because I don't want this to be as daunting, but I want a feelings check out there. How y'all doing? All right, all right. Y'all are here. Okay, you're just here and just taking it all in. Okay. But if you have any questions, Nothing's off the table. Please, you know. Oh, Taisha, you asked a question. How has your relationship with your childhood parent abuser evolved over time? Okay, so maybe
That's
no
what I
one.
just
Yeah, yeah. So if they can't relate, that's fine. That's maybe this is something that we can get during the replay. And we're going to do this on the replay, so I'm sure there'll be so many others who will chime in on this. Okay, all right.
All right. So now I'm going to go to, let's see, the current question. What role do support systems and personal boundaries play in this ongoing journey?
Thank you, 2.0 mommy. I see that. Thank you so much. Um, yes. Let me see that question. You know, the ADD kicked in, so I gotta repeat your question again. Can you please repeat your question? I was focused on the chat. I'm so
Absolutely.
sorry. Mhm.
So, what role do support systems and personal boundaries play in
Yeah.
this ongoing journey?
Yeah, I just think, same thing as I just said. My support systems are my friends, my really good friends that know what I've been through. And, I haven't been really vocal about this, on a MAGA level, but in terms of my friends, they have been here and helping me through it. Some family members who know now. My brother, after watching the video, he and I have brothers on my dad's side. So I was an only child. Let me clarify that to my mom. But my dad had 6 boys and 1 girl. I was not raised with them, and they lived in a completely different state. But as adults, my brothers and I have been very close. I only have 3 surviving brothers, and we've been very, very close. And so, my brother, one of my brothers, actually saw the video, and he he was in tears because he didn't know. I'd never told him in all these years what I actually endured as a child. So the boundaries again is just protecting my peace. I definitely make sure that there's nothing that I allow her to do or say to me anymore, even when I go visit her. And I just protect my peace, and that's where my boundaries are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Thank you, Alonda, for listening. I know you're driving. You told me.
So I have the next question.
Uh-huh.
Which strategies, support systems, and therapeutic or other approaches have proven beneficial in managing both your mental and physical health challenges?
Whew. So, um, I would say the strategies for me is being on, I took a look at me physically and didn't like what I saw. Again, I started out on in March at 300 pounds. I was back up. And by the way, I didn't think I mentioned this, but I was a previous gastric bypass patient, whatever you call it. I had a gastric bypass done in 2013. That's when I was almost 400 pounds, lost down to 190. And over the past 11 years, I climbed back up to 300 pounds. Okay. So, so that was very, very discouraging for me. And again, you sit there and say, how did I get here? I don't know what I did, but I think I just did not handle some of the issues of my past well. I just I became an emotional eater, as I said in my video, from a child. I guess my what is it, metabolism or whatever was so high as a child, and I was always really active. I was in sports, and in college I was in a band. I worked 3 jobs. Monica knows, she could tell you I did. I always worked. So it was just like I didn't have time, I guess, to have that weight factor, set in. But once I, after college and then grad school, it was grad school when I started seeing all of this come on me, because I was up late nights and stuff like that. But what I did try to do again was factor in the I needed to do something different for me. So of course, I sought out help to get on this medication, and then I moved to trying to get a better, I guess, aspect of who I was, and becoming more confident in who I was. So the therapy is always going to be my go-to. I remember Alonda did a video not long ago about her speaking with one of her coworkers who was starting the medication. And she said she wanted, her doctor told her that he was actually mandating her to go on medication. I'm sorry, to go into therapy. And I was like, oh my goodness, she's going to therapy. And I was like, that's what she needs, And Alonda was saying, oh no, my doctor didn't make me do that. And she didn't, not that she was against it, but she was like, I don't know why he's mandating you to do it. And I remember having a sidebar conversation by phone with Alonda, and I was like, yeah. I was like, why not? Like that has been the best thing for me. I actually recommend anybody on this medication be in therapy, because you always want to get to a root cause. And for me, that was the way I got to the root cause of what was going on with me and my weight, is to go through therapy first and tap into those areas that was causing me to do the emotional eating. I'm not a binge eater. I know some people are. I don't really eat a lot, and I think part of it is because I've had the surgery. I can't eat a lot. You still cannot eat a lot. I don't care how fat you become again. I don't mean to use the fat F word, but that's like bad in our community. But I don't care how much weight you've gained, you cannot eat a lot, and I just couldn't. But for some reason, I was still putting on those pounds. But yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go. We have
Doesn't she
two
have the
more.
best voice? You all, come on, let's give some claps or something. And the thing for simply Taisha's her calm demeanor and voice. It's just so beautiful. It's so soothing. She was the best person to be here. Oh, my other college roommate tapped in. Her name is Kim. Hi, Kim. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kim. I see you there. All
So
right. Go ahead.
we have, in what ways do cultural experiences and societal norms shape behaviors related to obesity?
Such a good question. Um, we had, and I'm sorry I don't see her here tonight. I don't know if she's somewhere in, this land of we can't tell who's really on here, because sometimes more people than we see.
Mhm.
But there was a young lady that clicked on my video this past week, and I don't think she was African American, but she mentioned that she had been abused. And I'm only saying this because it was in my chat. But she mentioned that she had been abused by her parents with food. I don't, I wasn't able to get the fullness of her story, but that piece really stuck out with me, because I thought there are some communities and some cultures that do not want children to eat a lot of food. They deprive them of it, because they really believe that if you eat a lot of food, you're going to gain weight and you're going to get fat, and we don't do that in our culture. And then in the African American culture, which I am very familiar with, obviously, is we definitely do. I was raised in an environment where my mom always said, eat your food, eat all your food. She always said, eat everything on your plate. You don't eat everything, you're not getting up from this table, which was another part of abuse. But I used to have to sit there and then swear I was definitely not eating all that damn liver. Okay. It just wasn't happening. I was not eating all that damn liver. It was not happening. I just need y'all to understand that. I hated it. Love liver now as an adult, but an acquired, desire after you get older. People tend to love liver and onions, but not as a child. And that was the most horrible night for me every time. But yeah, but I think when I say cultural though, I think that there are just certain aspects of how we raise our children and what we do that is so different. And I remember a pastor that the church we used to attend, and the pastor and his wife was having this ministers, I'm sorry, this marriage counseling group one night, and they were saying marriage conference. I'm sorry, I can't even think right now. And they were saying that they both were raised and culture is not about race. Obviously, we know it's about a way of living. And they were saying they were raised. The wife was raised with the father who was the cooker in the home, and the mom, she just worked, and the husband, the pastor, his mom was the cooker in the home and his dad was the provider, right? So then they said the night they got married and they came together and they came home into their new home, and they both sat down in the chair and just looked to see who was going to cook dinner, because both of them actually were used to, those gender or roles or whatever being so different. But that, I mean, when I say culture, that's different. That was their way of living. It was way they understood when when they were growing up as to how do we get through this. And so that was so culture plays a huge role in how we react to anything in our growth process and growing up, and also just seeing how unhealthy eating. Some communities just typically do not have the types of restaurants or even grocery stores. I actually live in Maryland, and the community that I'm in, I mean, the county that I'm in, within the past year was listed as the highest earning African American population, county, right? The highest earning. And I work in a different county that used to hold that claim or whatever, that title. And it's interesting that we don't have a Wegmans, we don't have a Harris Teeters, we don't have any of the grocery stores that most of the other surrounding counties have. And I'm like, well, if we're making all this money, why can't y'all put stuff down here so we can be healthier? We don't have any of those kind of Whole Foods. That's the store I was trying to think of. We don't have any of those. So that's interesting how that question came about. But yes, culture does play a huge part in obesity and how we look at food. Yes.
Okay. All right. And we're going to go to the final question
Okay, thank you.
before we, I guess, open it up, right?
Yeah.
How can understanding these influences help in developing more effective and culturally sensitive approaches to addressing obesity and promoting a healthier lifestyle? I'll also post it here. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. That helps so much. How can understanding these influences help in developing more effective and culturally sensitive approaches to addressing it? Yes. We need to well, the influences I would say are media, huge. Some of the influences that we are targeted by every day is what we see on TV, I think one of my earlier videos, I talked about writing, this was really early video, like Elaine don't know what she doing video. And I would talk about when I was riding down the road from work, coming home, and how the restaurants would just call me again, Burger King, McDonald's, the carry out places and all that. I wanted this, and this, and this. Um, and these are, for me, I think that we see more of those. And I just brought up that example of us not having more healthier options in some communities. And some communities are just flat out a food desert. I mean, I can imagine some people who live places and they have nothing. My girlfriend Monica, I go to visit her in Delaware. While she lives, in an area that I won't say is a food desert, because she sure finds lots of great places to eat there. I tell her every night she's at some restaurant. I said that's the gloriousness of us having kids, that we don't have to pay for anymore. But most of the places that she really, really endures, I mean, she enjoys, are places that's more like on the beach side, because she lives near a beach. And so like places that's more on a beach side or whatever, because they tend to have, they appeal to more people over there. So, so some places can just be what you consider a food desert, and it's hard to find, certain restaurants and good foods in those areas. So these are some of the things that I think that I would say are culturally sensitive, because it depends on what they're appealing to in those communities and in those areas, that how people will eat. If I'm only exposed to fast food restaurants, carry outs, corner stores, those kind of things, I am going to be more prone to you know partaking in what they offer and being obese, eventually eating such unhealthy foods that it leads me into obesity and unhealthy behaviors, food behaviors. So, how can we promote a healthy lifestyle? One of the things that I've done, and I want to thank you, Taisha. I love, 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 love my walking pad. I did start this summer before I bought the walking pad. I started this summer walking and going around the lakes and the trails in my development. I lived here 18 years, 18 years, and I never would walk. I was so intimidated to walk because I was fat. And I'm saying that about myself. Yes, I was fat. Okay. And I did not want people watching me while I walked because I was fat. And I knew, and I have a very large exterior piece back there behind me. Okay. So anyway, I did not want people looking at that while I was walking around the lakes and the development or whatever. But I had to get over that. I did. I had to get over that because my health was more important. And so I started walking. I put myself into 2 to 2.5 miles a day before the end of the summer. And then again, like I said in my video, we have all seasons here. And Elaine is not a cold weather girl. So I knew something I had to do fast because I wanted to keep the walking up. So I decided to do that. Taisha talked about a walking pad one day on one of her videos, and I just started researching and found me one. And actually, my Monica, my boo, we started walking. She was walking by the beach every day until it got too cold too, because it's cold by water. So now she has a walking pad that she ordered, and I guess it may have come in. Yet Monica, give us update on that, whether your walking pad came in, because I know she was waiting for it. So I mean, just encouraging everybody to do something, get active, and help yourself to become healthier. I also tried to take on that thing with Taisha with the okay, so Taisha, tell them what you do, the plant-based diet.
Oh, whole food plant-based.
said whole food plant-based, like not just plant-based, but whole food plant-based. She let me know real quick that did not include Impossible Burgers from Burger King. Okay. That did not include the Impossible Burger, Elaine, from Burger King. I mean, well, I'm sorry, Taisha. I'm going to eat the Impossible Burger. But no, I don't go to Burger King to get the Impossible Burger. I actually buy them from the store. I don't do them with bread, but they are very, very good. And they are plant-based, but they are not whole food plant-based.
I
But
used
I'm
to
all
eat
right
those.
with doing the half food plant-based. Okay. So I did that because it was enough for me. Yeah. So, but I absolutely have tried to change a lot of those behaviors, um, and I'm eating. I am eating a lot healthier, and I'm very excited about. It. I do protein mainly because it's so hard for me to get anything in. I remember I was never a big eater anyway. I have a smaller pouch because of my surgery in my stomach, so I have to just eat protein. I ate string beans tonight, and I was so excited. I was like, I ate string beans and lamb chops. So that was what I made for dinner. So that was really good. But yeah, healthy living is the best way to go. Get your metabolic in order. Get it in order. Get it in order. It's huge for you. And exercising takes away the stress too. You know, with all the stressors that you may have and you're carrying, and the triggers that you may have from things in life that may have stemmed from your childhood, exercising has really been a godsend for me because of that. All right.
Jill has a question.
Okay.
Um, it says, not disputing the benefits of therapy by any means, but not sure how I feel about it being mandatory, especially since a lot of people on this medication can truly just be GLP-1 deficient. Thoughts?
Oh, really good thought. Really good thought. Um, so the therapy for me, Jill, of course, stemmed for me back to the trauma I experienced, a lot of trauma in my life. So I do understand and respect that. I think that the therapy piece of it is good for anyone because of the transition you're going through with your body. Um, I also deal with body dysmorphia, which I've talked about in previous videos as well. But I think that, it's just helpful to understand how to accept the world, the new world that's going to now surround you. Like, I know, for me, Jill, being almost 400 pounds at one time, going places and people looking at you. And then I have lymphedema. So that's another added stare that I get from people because I have, sometimes enlarged legs and ankles when I'm really inflamed. And that's not, there's no cure for lymphedema. So I have to, the working out helps and all that other stuff. So I deal with a lot of the 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 issues of feeling kind of different when people are looking at me for those in those ways. But another thing is a lot of people develop the imposter syndrome because you feel much more confident, and then sometimes you can just like this is really not me. I mean, what if they find me out? What if they see that I'm really not, this is just because I've lost weight, but I'm really the same person I was when I was 300, 400 pounds, So you have those things that you're dealing with. So you're right. It is it is a good benefit. But I still stick with thinking that it would be helpful if people do start out with it at least as they're going through their transition, because it's a lot to lose this weight and still have some things like what got them there? What got you there, Jill? Like, think about it. There is always a root cause to what got you there. If you were a binge eater, if you were an emotional eater, yeah. So
I thought of something, Elaine. Do you think that Because I notice a lot of your fears seem to have to do with judgment from other people. Do you
Mhm.
feel like you are that way because of how you were brought up and the treatment that you got, the abuse? Do you think that that carried on and still like where you use food as a form of comfort because you didn't have control of everything else that was going on? You can control what you're putting in your mouth. Do you feel like do you find yourself feeling the same way you did when you were younger and you were going through something when you go through stress times and you eat?
So there's two people on here that can tell you that better than I can, and that's Monica and Kim. When I walked on the campus of Virginia State University in 1986, and I met both of them in separate capacities, but I met both of them. We were all in the same dorm, and the both of them said to me all the time my freshman year, "Why do you care so much about what people think?" That was a statement that I always remember both of them saying. And they used to, I mean, they didn't say it quite that nice. Now. I'm gonna just make you laugh. But they both from up north, one from New York, one from Jersey. And so they both said it in a way where like I wanted to run from both of them. But they did. They let me know, why do you care? And the one thing I noticed was they didn't. They did not care what people thought or whatever, but I always was worried about that. And so, yeah, that comes with the territory of what I endured. And again, like I said, that was root cause. I mean, I've gotten a lot better. I still fall back in moments. I do catch myself, but I do still fall back in moments where I do think about that. But I have gotten a whole lot better. I have. So I try to but that was huge for me. And to have two other 18-year-olds say that to me, it was like life changing, and I never forgot it. So they worked on me real hard. By the time I got out of college, I think I was doing a whole lot better than I was when I walked in. But that was very helpful for me. It was a learning experience for me. Yeah. But you're
Uh,
right. Yes.
I thought of another one based off of an answer you gave before. So that 15 years that you and your mom, like where your relationship was the best, how
Mhm.
was your weight? How were your eating habits then?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, you know, I really hadn't thought about it much in that, but I do think, um, if I can remember correct, I mean, I still was overweight. That was the time where I was creeping back up from my surgery. Well, she was here when I had my surgery. She was actually living in my home because remember, my surgery was 2013. She moved in 2005. So
Okay.
I had the surgery in 2013. So then I crept back up. She left in 2020. So yeah, I don't think it was different because I wasn't in treatment then. I really wasn't, working on me. I didn't have a sense of value of who I was still. So um I would like to say a lot of those years I was in an imposter syndrome mode because I have such a chipper personality, and I'm not doing that with you all tonight. Trust me, I am good. I keep myself in therapy and I do my work. Okay. And when things get so bad for me where I can't take it anymore, I have to disconnect. I do. And I learned how to do that and not feel guilty about it, no matter who it is. So definitely I'm 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 better. I'm much better. But during the time she was here, even when she was, as I would call in remission, I would say she was in remission from her abuse tactics. I still was. I did better. I did better, and but I still had the food emotional things. So anything else outside of my mom that bothered me, because you got to understand that was where it started. That's root cause.
Yeah.
But what I did, that was my typical response to anything that I did that was um, triggering for me in terms of trauma.
Do you guys have any questions for Elaine? Anything you want her to elaborate on, or
Yeah,
any,
any questions for
similar
me?
struggles that you're comfortable sharing?
Anything you just want to know about? Do you have any friends that you want help with, or people that you may know that may be going through something that you want to know how to approach them, or anything? You don't have to give any names, obviously, but anything that you want to know, even if it's just something you want to know in general. I absolutely am delighted that all of you are here. Hey, man, Startup Incubator. Thank you for joining. You're probably gonna have to do the replay, but thank you for joining. You missed a lot. um, yeah. So we if there's anything else you want to recap on, or talk about, that's fine. But I really appreciate you all coming here tonight. I just wanted to be able to get out some of the concerns that I heard throughout the last week. Hopefully, those who are here for the replay, I want to speak to you and say thank you so much for coming back. And I know everybody's time gets busy, so you weren't able to be here for the live, but definitely, I appreciate you going through and listening. And hey, everybody, stop right now and do the like. If you haven't liked, please like, hit the like button, hit that thumbs up for me. Because if you're still here, I hope you like what you've heard tonight. And I thank you for hearing my heart. And I look forward to continuing with the Audacity series. And one of the things is, I'm gonna come up with. I'm sorry, I was checking some notes. Is I want to talk about living with lymphedema through GLP. So that's another thing I hope. So if you have any friends or know anyone that suffers from lymphedema, I am on a lymphedema support group as well. So I do have a whole different group of folk that I talk to on that end. Y'all don't probably even see them because they don't come up on your algorithm, but I do have a whole group of folk that I talk to on that end. Also, living with GLP and dealing with the addiction culture, because there are some addictions that we have, not just food addictions, but other addictions that we tend to get caught up in with obesity, and um, GLP weight loss and the imposter syndrome. So these are upcoming segments that I'm going to have. I tapped a little bit on the imposter syndrome tonight, but I will be putting out a video about that more in detail. So just wanted you to know. Taisha, I thank you so much for being here tonight and helping me through this time. You were amazing support. Thank you so much. And all of you who joined me on tonight, I just really appreciate you. And I am I, I'm happy to get through this moment. I'm honored that I've gotten through my first live.
Oh, we gotta.
Yay.
Told you could do it.
Yes, yes. No, if you need if everybody is good, we are. I don't see anything else new. Everybody is saying good night. So we are going to end it here. Thank you so much for dropping by. Love you all.